Those do exist. In fact, back in 1980s, IBM issued a 50-year zero coupon bond. They sell at a very deep discount. You don't pay them $1,000. You pay much, much less, but you get nothing in the meantime. You pay for wait for 50 years just to get that $1,000. Of course, that doesn't mean you can't trade a bond in the meantime. That's why we need to calculate a value for the bond. So the inputs that we're going to use to calculate value for a bond, I'm going to have to know the coupon rates. I'm going to have to know the coupon frequency, face value. Uh, what else? Oh, how many years you have until maturity, and yield to maturity. So I have 5 inputs. This template comes with only 1 input, so I need to add 4 more. I can use this green plus button to do so. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I'm going to tell you what that means, but that'll come. So let's name them. I'm going to do the coupon rates and yield to maturity right here. And I'm going to say years to maturity. Coupon frequency and face value. Obviously, my face value should have a dollar format just for presentation purposes. Internally, nothing matters. Coupon rate and yield to maturity will have a percent format. 1, 2, 3, 4. For the ease of entering data. And I'm going to make these just have 2 digits. So coupon rate 8%, yield to maturity 4.5, years to maturity 30, semi-annual, and $1,000. So those are my inputs. There is a reason coupon rate right now has a pink background. That doesn't mean anything right now. That's going to mean something when we actually, and this, I'm going to call this target bond value. Sometimes I'm going to tell you what the bond value is. I'm going to ask you to figure out something else. Given everything else, what coupon rate would give me that bond value? Or given everything else, what yield to maturity would give me that bond value? And let me call this if that's equal to 1, solver mode, otherwise setup mode. Yeah. Whenever that thing is a red light, I'm in the setup mode. Anytime, if all you want is given the inputs, what's the value of the bond, you need to be in the setup mode. But if you want to know one of the inputs that's going to give you the value you want, then you need to be in solver mode. And for that, all you have to do is double click on this. That's going to turn it into red, green. Sure. That's the beauty of the if function. An if function has 3 arguments. The first argument is a logical test. It's going to be either true or false. The second argument is what are you going to do if the first argument is true? The third argument is what are you going to do if the first argument is false? So depending upon the case, And I set this thing in such a way that when the value of that cell is 1, it's going to be green light. When the value of cell is not 1, it's going to be red light. That's just a visual manifestation of that. If you actually look at the here, you see that it's -1. Since we're not using any options for this one, we're not going to worry about that. Now I need to write down a formula to calculate the value of the bond given the inputs. We've seen this before when we were doing annuity with balloon payments. We can actually use the Excel function. We're going to use the PV function, period interest rate, and I'll define what that means. The second argument is number of periods. The third argument is coupon amount. And the last argument is face value. So if all you wanted to do is calculate the value of a bond, you don't need that template. It just makes it easier interaction. That's the not the only reason, but the primary reason I constructed that sheet. Here, period interest rate means yield to maturity divided by frequency of coupons. So if it's semi-annual, because we always refer to yield to maturity in annualized or APR terms. Number of periods is years to maturity times F. So if I have a 30-year semi-annual bond, F is 2, years to maturity is 30. That means there are 60 coupons. If it's a quarterly 10-year bond, 40 coupons. All I have to do is implement that formula, which is not terribly complicated. Let me make this bigger because I don't need to see those options because I don't need them. Equals PV is the name of the function. The first argument is the rate. That's the period rate, which is obtained by taking yield to maturity and dividing it by coupon frequency. The second argument is number of periods. Take the years to maturity, multiply it with coupon frequency. The third argument is the coupon payment or coupon amount. Take the face value, multiply it by the coupon rate, divided by coupon frequency. And the last argument is just the face value. For reasons that I'm going to talk about, this will always give you a negative number. Obviously, we don't want bond values to be negative. So I'm going to put a negative in front of it. The reason this function creates a negative bond value, it must have been coded by an accountant who view things in terms of debits and credits. So if as a bond holder, you're getting payments, that's a credit to you. But what you pay for all those payments should be a debit. That's why it's negative. Of course, I want this thing to be have. There is also another yield concept, which is only for the purposes of market lingo. It's called current yield, and that's defined as face value times coupon rates divided by the bond value. The only reason we even define this thing, it is similar to, for stock market, what we call dividend yield. We're going to cover that more in chapter 7, but dividend yield is dollar amount of dividends you expect to receive over the next year divided by the current price of the stock. For a bond, the dividends are the coupons, right? Well, the amount of coupon that I'm expected to receive over the next year is face value times coupon rate. If I divide that the bond value, that's the price of the bond. That's essentially dividend yield for a bond. We just give it a special name. We call it current yield. Since we're going to look at those, I might as well make that calculation. Let me copy these. I'm going to take the face value times coupon rate divided by bond value. I'm going to refer to this as D9. Sometimes when you refer to things that are in a table, it uses weird stuff. Okay? And I'm going to copy, paste formats, not currently, but current.